welcome to the Artist Behind the Music Canadian series. Today we have Wes Fowler joining us. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for being here. I just love your sound and your music. And if you're watching this and you haven't heard his music yet, you guys just need to go to Spotify or iTunes or wherever you listen to your music and just hit repeat and have a coffee or a glass of wine and just relax because it's so good. I just love it. And speaking of coffee, you're featured on one of Spotify's coffee house playlists, Morning Coffee, right?
Yeah. Just recently, I guess it was the beginning of December. They put one of my songs on there, which is pretty cool to see.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's always a goal of an artist to get on a Spotify curated playlist. So, congratulations.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the kind words as well.
Oh, of course. Yes, all true and all real and everyone definitely go check them out. So, let's learn a little bit more about who you are as a person and how you kind of got started in the music industry. So, let's backtrack a few years and you can tell us the story of kind of what got you into music and what inspired you to pursue it full time.
I guess a little while back now, I applied for a college music program, and you had to like submit a couple demo songs and everything, and I didn't get in, and it was unfortunate because I didn't realize that getting no response meant that you didn't get in. So I actually called and I had to have an awkward phone call with
Oh,
somebody about being rejected. Um, and it was pretty devastating. So I was debating on whether or not it was something I should pursue. And I reached out to a buddy of mine, Luther, who is a musician. He's been a musician for a long time. And he kind of showed me a few things on how to get started myself. And so from there, I just kind of made my songs in this tiny little room here. I've released five now. My first release was in August of 2019. And yeah, I've just been doing it from in here since then.
that's so cool. I want to touch on a few things from that conversation, but the first thing, let's talk about that rejection, the fear of rejection, the response to rejection. How do you move through the no's and when somebody tells you, "Oh, sorry, you weren't accepted." No, you just didn't make the cut. What kind of feelings come up, and how did you kind of process through that? Oh my gosh, should I do this? Should I not do this? Those kind of emotions, what did you use, or what kind of advice do you maybe have for others that are experiencing things like that?
Um, it definitely sucks hearing hearing no. It gets a little easier every time you hear. But I guess the most advice I would have is just that if someone tells you you can't do something, they're likely wrong. um, and you just gotta to figure it out and keep moving forward. It's just one person's opinion or a couple people based on what it is. And I was lucky to have my friend Luther too, who kind of showed me that I could do it on my own. So
Yeah, it all starts with the belief in yourself, right?
yes,
And the
exactly.
other
As long
the
as
other
that's there, you're good.
Yeah, totally. And then the other opinions don't matter as much when you know that you're staying. I always talk about authenticity, but just staying true to your authentic self makes it a lot easier to tune out the naysayers or the judgment or the expectations of other people, even, right? It's just words, it's just opinions that are out there. And I always like to say too, every no is one no closer to a yes, right? So you're gonna hear no a lot more than you're going to hear yes. And it's kind of like spreading chips on a roulette table is another way I like to look at it. Like, put one here, you're not going to win every time, right? But if you keep putting money out, eventually, hopefully, you'll hit your number.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, just everybody's allowed to have their opinion, of course. But as long as yeah, you're making something that you think is cool and you enjoy it, then there's likely someone else there who will enjoy it as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's great. And so let's chat about self producing. And you produced everything yourself in your space that we are seeing right now.
Yes, it's a very small room. In fact, I have to have the I can only take the keyboard down when I want to use it because it's so tiny. But yeah, it's been a journey for sure. Learning. I've spent a lot of time on YouTube, um, and yeah, I have a few things like just an interface, my monitors and my microphone here, and that's all I really had to get started. So
It's so cool how we can just do these projects from the comfort of home and, just creating your own home studio and making it sound professional and amazing. So that's awesome that you've done that. Did you take any courses or did you just learn yourself? Did you just completely decide I'm going on YouTube and learning how to make an album?
yeah, I did the YouTube route. So some of the videos that I watched were like kind of in like course format. There's like everybody knows how to do everything on YouTube. You can find absolutely everything. So yeah, if you spend a few hours on there, you can find the right stuff. And yeah, I was lucky. I found some good videos, and again, my buddy Luther pointed me in the right direction. Um, yeah, just it's just work. It's just time and effort.
Yeah, exactly. It's just time and effort. And that's anything you're passionate about pursuing, it takes time and effort and a learning curve, right? So good for you. And do you have any tips for anybody out there that's thinking, "Oh, I want to make some music at home?"
um, yeah, I guess the biggest tip would be to just be creative. Just try things. Like in my first song that I released, Time Machine, I thought it was kind of boring. It didn't have a lot of production elements, and so one thing I tried was just um, exporting the whole song, putting it in reverse, and then putting it in the background. Um, and because it's kind of like a time machine, it's going in reverse. And it's just stuff like that, really, that makes the production just little creative things like that.
Yeah, try new things. That's good advice. Very cool. What else have you learned on YouTube in your life?
Um, I mean, mostly music stuff. Um, yeah, I spend a lot too much time on YouTube when I'm not watching music tutorials on Ableton or where to put a mic on a guitar or something like that.
It can be a loophole
Um,
or it just brings you in.
yeah, there's vlogs on there and there's gaming stuff and yeah, too much stuff.
I know it's a whole world. Once I learned how to fix a dishwasher on YouTube. That was an
Oh wow,
impressive moment in my life.
well, that's yeah. I again, everything is on there.
Everything's on
Really,
YouTube. And we are
yeah.
not sponsored by YouTube, but everything's on
No.
YouTube. Oh, that's awesome. Who are some of your most influential artists to your music?
Um, First and foremost would probably be Nizloppy. Um, they're a duo from the UK who when I heard their music, that was when I decided really that maybe it was something I could do because it just seemed like they were having so much fun and just kind of making what they wanted to make and enjoying doing it, and there wasn't a lot of pressure around it. And so that's what really made me want to make music. Um, and then I guess I listened to a lot of Damien Rice,
Yeah,
Ed
I hear that.
Sheeran, of course, and more recently some Chelsea Cutler and Joel Baker.
Nice.
Those are probably
Those are
my
all
biggest influences.
nice. Those are all good artists to also check out. I always love checking out new artists. So I haven't heard of the first act that you were talking about. So I'll definitely check them
Oh
out.
yeah, yeah, they're very cool. There's some beatboxing. It's like a beatboxing acoustic, cool thing. It's cool.
Cool. I like it. I'm always open for new music exposure. So when you're
Yeah.
not doing music, what do you spend your world doing?
Well, I work. I actually sell tires in the day. I watch a lot of movies.
What's your
Um,
favorite movie?
my favorite movie is probably the entire Harry Potter series. I can't pick just one, but the entire series is probably my favorite.
Harry Potter keeps coming up in conversations and I keep seeing pictures. I've actually never seen Harry Potter, not one.
Oh,
And I've never read the book either. So I know nothing about Harry Potter.
I think you'd like it. It's pretty hard to not enjoy at least something about
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to put that on my list of things to check out as well.
it. Yeah.
Taking notes here mentally. Oh, that's awesome. And are you a big like binge show watcher when you're watching Netflix or Amazon or any of those things?
Yeah, over the holidays, for sure, I watched quite a few things. A lot of The Office. and How I Met Your Mother. Those are probably the two biggest because they're kind of short episodes.
Yep.
So you're like, I'm just gonna watch like one episode, and then you watch like an entire season.
It's easy, right? You could just get sucked in, and all of a sudden you're like, how did I just spend, 5 hours of my life in the same position?
Yeah, it's very similar to YouTube that way.
Yeah, it's real life. It happens. It happens. That's awesome. So let's get back to music. What would you say one of the biggest challenges in the music industry are for you, and how do you move through that?
Well, for me right now, it's I guess getting my music out there.
Mhm.
It seems like it would be, I guess, easy because of all the technology and everything, but it's kind of hard to get it to the right people, I guess, and because my sound is kind of soft and it's not like the mainstream poppy sound, but it's still kind of poppy.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of people who feel it's right for their blog audience or that sort of thing. So that's probably the biggest struggle right now. It's I mean, I'm lucky I had that big rejection at the beginning, so I'm easier to take, and I just send it out to everybody now. And
And you know what? That's all you can really do, right? Is just keep pushing it out there. And every time like I was saying, every no leads to a yes. So even though sometimes it feels like, oh, my genre is not understood or there's not a lot out there, there's a huge market for what you're doing. And I think you make music that everybody could listen to, whether they're a country fan or a rock fan or a pop fan or, whatever. There's just such a large audience for music like yours. So
thank
keep
you very
putting
much.
it out there. And what would you say is the most fun part about being a musician and releasing music?
um, I would say that it's just hearing from people who have listened to it really is the coolest thing. If hearing their interpretations of the song or that it's helped them in some way through something, um, it's just awesome. It's awesome to be able to feel like you've helped somebody.
The impact, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it's really cool.
that's amazing. And then what does success look like to you? What is your version of success?
Um, Success to me, I mean, I feel like I'm I'm almost where I'm happy being successful. I mean, I'd like to not have to sell tires anymore. um, so I guess like full time music uh, would be amazing,
The
amazing for
next
me.
step.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, put it out there. We'll manifest it for you right
Yes.
here, right
Yes.
now. That's amazing. Well, how do you get inspired by your songs, or how do you create the songwriting process? Do you like to co-write with other people? Do you write everything on your own? And where does that inspiration come from? Is it your own stories, or is it stories from external sources, or a little bit of both?
For the songs I've written so far, I've written them alone, and the inspiration is kind of it. Well, it's all from my own life for sure, and my own experiences. And it usually comes, like 3 in the morning. Uh, can't sleep, and I think all the songs I've released right now were all those kind of songs where
Oh,
you write them in like 15, 20 minutes, and it's just kind of like, how did that even happen?
the 3
And they've
a.m.
all
magic.
yeah, they've all been one of those, so I've been pretty fortunate with that. But yeah, I've never actually co-written a full song before, but I'd really like to. I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah. Oh, that's so interesting. I love hearing about how different people write different. There's some people that only co-write with people, and um, there's some people that only write during like scheduled time. And I just find it so interesting that there is a lot of people out there, and they say it's 3 a.m. The 3 a.m. hour is a very hot songwriting hour, apparently. Like people are wide awake in the middle of the night and just need to get their thoughts out. And what better way than to write a song?
Yeah, well, I guess for me, I mean, there's a reason that I wasn't able to sleep, and so that reason usually turns into a song, I guess.
That's perfect. Inspiration's got to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
On that note, I would love to hear your songs if you'd like
Yes.
to play for us.
Awesome. I have my guitar here. Okay. So this first one is a song called the Chocolate Cake Song, and it's the song that's currently on the Spotify Morning Coffee playlist. And I wrote it about um, basically I'm a pretty quiet guy, pretty awkward, especially in groups. Um, and people are always telling me I should speak up or asking me why I'm so quiet and that sort of thing, which only makes it worse.
Totally.
Um, so yeah, I decided to write a song that turned into a love song about some of the reasons it's good to be quiet.
Oh.
No, I don't talk that much. Never had that much to say. When you press your lips on mine and they taste like chocolate cake, there aren't words to describe that anyway. No, I don't say that much, oh no. Always stuck inside my head. But when you walk into the room and my mind forgets everything but you, who would rather be talking instead. Look, I know you'd like to know what's on my mind, but I got these walls up that I tend to hide behind. So when I'm being quiet, like I always do, know that the only thing on my mind is you. Know that the only thing on my mind is you. No, I don't speak that often. Always keep my feelings to myself. But I can tell you when you rest your head on me and your face warms the side of my neck. That's the best thing I've ever felt. Look, I know you'd like to know what's on my mind. I got these walls up that I tend to hide behind. So when I'm being quiet, like I always do, know that the only thing on my mind is you. Know that the only thing on my mind is you. Know that the only thing on my mind is you. Know that the only thing on my mind is
Woohoo!
you.
So good. I love an artist, that you can hear on a recording and then hear live and they just sound exactly the same. So that's what you did. That's so great.
Oh wow.
I just felt like I was listening to Spotify again.
Oh, thank you.
So good. I love
That's
it.
huge. Thank
Yeah. And you know what else I find very interesting about what you were saying before about being a little quieter and introspective as opposed to being like, the life of the party, dancing around and, screaming in everybody's faces. A lot of times I think artists get a reputation to be the loud person in the room or the outspoken one, or artists are more so performers, I would say, right? Just that you imagine these performers as being these like loud in your face kind of people. And I always find it so interesting that there's a performer side and then there's the human side, right? And it's a very different thing. And how do you find it being a quieter person and being a performer? How do you feel that transition from being, your quieter self to being that person on stage that has to light the room up?
you. It's pretty cool. I mean, there's definitely been some shows that I've played where it's like I'm even kind of quiet when I'm performing, so it's hard to like get over people. People are eating their chicken wings and drinking their beer or whatever, and loving it, and talking with their friends and whatever. So um, those ones are hard, but when you play a show that's, you know, a little bit quieter, and people are there to listen and stuff, it's like the best thing. It's really cool. It's that those ones are easier for me. The louder ones are a little tough.
Yeah, and you know what? I think it's challenging for any artist. I know I struggle, like if I'm playing a show where people are eating chicken wings and drinking beer, and it's like hard to overperform to get that attention, right? But there is a big difference between an environment like that and an environment where people are just there to tune into the music and listen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Do you have any alter ego things you do to get on stage? Like before you get on stage, do you imagine
No.
yourself as something different?
I really, I kind of I've gotten to the point where I've just accepted it now. Accepted that I'm gonna feel a little bit weird up there, and probably be a little bit awkward, and yeah, I just accept that that's that. I take a few deep breaths before I go on, and that's it.
Totally. And you know what? Make it part of your shtick. Like that's who you are. That's
Yeah.
perfect. Amazing. Well, if you have another song for us, I'm ready to listen.
Yes. Okay, so this next one is a song called Time Machine, and it's the first song that I released, and it's just about realizing that you love someone once it's already too late. Um, I always say that I write sad songs and happy songs that sound sad. The last one was a happy one that sounds sad, and this one is an actual sad one.
Thank you for clarifying.
The way you wrapped your arms around me, you knew that something was wrong. I was never really there for you. You were there for me all along. Why was I such a moron? How did I not see what was going on? Build me a time machine, I'll go back and fix it all. Build me a time machine, I'll go back and fix it all. Always knew how to pick me up. You would never let me fall. When you were down and out, I gave you no strength at all. I should have given you all of my love, but my chances now have used up. Build me a time machine, I'll go back and fix it all. All of those times that you wanted to dance, I stood against the wall, hands in the pockets of my pants. I'd give anything to ask for your hand from your father. Now you've got no more love left to offer. Build me a time machine, I'll go back and fix it all. Build me a time machine, I'll go back and fix it all. Build me a time machine, I'll go back and fix it all. For the love of my life, and I never even let you know.
That is sad. Especially that last line, and you're just like, oh, that is sad.
Definitely a sad one.
Yeah, I love it. I love sad music. It makes you feel good. Makes you feel good. Oh, it's been so great having you on the show and learning a little bit more about who you are as a person and an artist. And hearing you play live has been great. I always love to end up these sessions with the question, if you had one message to share with the world, what would it be?
I guess I would say what I said earlier. Just if someone tells you that you can't do something, you likely can't do it. You can figure it out, and don't listen to them.
That's right. Keep pushing forward. Do you always. That's great advice. Great advice. Well, make sure we put links to all your socials in the caption below so everyone can check your music out and a little bit more about what you have in your world and stay in touch. So thank you so much for being on the show, Wes, and I look forward to chatting with you soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Anytime.